Shalom. Call Halal Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Barakatham to the hopefully elect. Just back with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. I had mentioned in a previous video that I would just touch on this real quick because I had mentioned the fact that I don't know if it was in a street teaching or just a regular video, but basically I had mentioned the fact that basically the people that are I'm trying to remember what I had how I said it, because the ones that are cursed from the earth, man, and I'm gonna get that in Genesis, but basically the ones that are cursed from the earth, man, they're the ones that are ruling over us right now, and the ones that not only are they ruling over us, they run the earth right now. All right. The cursed of the earth is actually running the earth. All right. And the ones that the earth was created for, all right, talking about the Israelites, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, pretty much, the earth, so to say, is working against us. So again, the ones that's cursed from the earth, all right, they're the ones that are ruling the earth right now. And the ones that the earth was created for, all right, like I said, so to say, the earth is working against our favor as of right now. So, like I said, because I said I was going to touch on it, so I'm going to go ahead and get this in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. I'm going to start at the first verse. It says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh power had made, and he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden." All right, and real quick, I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna see if this is if this ties in. See if this ties in, because again, and I got it up on the screen here. All right, just as a visual. And I'm probably gonna set it up like this, while I have a some sort of a visual and not just read from the Bible, because this shit with the Esau's technology, man, this shit sucks. All right, been having all type of technical difficulties and stuff, man. So just see how this works out. But again, with the visual on screen, of course, because knowing and understanding that it wasn't an actual snake, all right, that beguiled Eve. It wasn't some snake wrapped around a tree that presented Eve with an actual fruit, an actual apple. That's not what it's talking about. All right, but like I said, nevertheless, just for the visual, I have it up on screen. But I'm gonna see if this ties into the video. So yeah, because in again, Genesis 3:1, it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast." All right, because when you go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 18, it says, Ecclesiastes 3 and 18, it says, "I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that the Most High might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beast." All right, because again, I believe I mentioned this before, man, dealing with, because the Bible is full of parables. It's full of dark sayings. All right, because this Bible, man, is one big code book, and just the book of Genesis alone, man, there's a lot of you could be here for days just going into the hidden gems in the book of Genesis, and what each precept is talking about. All right, because again, knowing that and understanding that this serpent, it's not talking about an actual snake, contrary to what's taught in this world. And this beast that it's talking about, when it says, "Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast," all right, that's why I read Ecclesiastes 3 and 18. It said, "I said in my heart concerning the state of the sons of men. All right, because you have the sons of God, which are the Israelites. You got the sons of the wicked, all right, which is Esau, and then you got the sons of men, which are the other nations. All right, three classifications of people. All right, like when you read in the book of Genesis, the 6th chapter, when it talks about how the sons of God came down unto the daughters of men. I think it says that. Just checking real quick to see if that's what it's talking about. Yeah, the sons of God, which are, again, the Israelites, coming down unto to the daughters of men. All right? Because, again, there's three classifications of people. Like I said, you got the sons of God, which are the Israelites, the sons of the wicked, and then you got the sons of men, the other nations. All right? So, Ecclesiastes 3:18, again, it says, I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men. All right? Talking about people, nations. It says that the Most High might manifest them and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. All right. So going back to Genesis 3:1, again, when it says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast. All right. Again, it's talking about nations. It's talking about people. All right. And even more so men. All right. Because, again, contrary to what's taught in this world, Adam and Eve were not the only people on the earth during their time. There was many people here and many nations. All right. And Yahweh Shemel Shai created a spirit in man, in a certain group of people. All right. Because this is the same spirit that's in Esau today. Before Esau was reincarnated as Esau, before he came back as Esau in Genesis, the 25th chapter. All right. This is who basically this is talking about, that spirit, that deceptive spirit that's in him today. All right. Because, again, there was a different type of spirit dealing with this group of people. All right. And this is why he was more subtle than any beast of the field. All right. It says of the field which Yahweh power had made, and he said unto the woman, yea, had the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. All right. And again, this tree, man, going into the fruit of this tree that Eve was not supposed to partake in is going into different philosophies, and that might be if the spirit permits, might do a separate video on that, dealing with the different philosophies and things of that nature. But nevertheless, this is what it's talking about, because, again, it's not talking about an actual fruit. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell you that Eve ate an apple. All right, nowhere in the Bible does it tell you that a snake presented an apple to Eve, and then how somehow she whatever lies that they're teaching. All right, you're not going to find it nowhere in the Bible. All right, but nevertheless, dealing with this serpent. All right, because I'm gonna get that in a Revelation later on. But jumping on down to verse in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, verse. I'll jump down to verse 13. It says, and the Lord power said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So she partook in this knowledge that she wasn't supposed to partake in, because that breath that was breathed unto Adam, all right, basically going into the different laws, statutes, and commandments, all right, that breath that was breathed unto him, basically, because the Lord was dealing with Adam, all right. So there was already a standard. There was already a way that we were supposed to conduct ourselves, and there was ways how we were supposed to move and whatnot. And of course, Adam, he passed that information on down to Eve. So Eve, she knew what was up. So this is why she wasn't supposed to partake. This is why she went off partaking in these different philosophies that are contrary to Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right. But verse 14, it says, and Yahweh power said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Now, basically, to keep it short, sweet, and simple, basically, well, again, not Esau, because Esau wasn't around during this time. He wasn't around yet. But nevertheless, the spirit that is in Esau, All right. Um. Um. Let me read this again. Verse 14. It says, "And Yahweh power said unto the serpent." All right. So again, this serpent. All right. Um. Where's it at? Because I said I was going to get it. And Revelation 20. All right. Just to show you who this serpent, when it's talking about the serpent. Revelation chapter 20 and verse 1. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand." It says, "And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent." All right. Why is this dragon referred to that old serpent? Because this is that same serpent, or that same deceptive spirit that was in this particular, um, group of people. All right. Because again, like I've read in Genesis 3 and 1, all right, this particular serpent, or this particular spirit that was put on this group of people, all right, it was more deceptive. Like I said, it was more subtle than any beast of the field. All right, you know, um, but nevertheless, this is that same spirit, and this is why it's referred to that old serpent. This dragon is referred to that old serpent. All right, um, Revelation 22 again. It says, "He laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil." All right, which just means deceiver. All right, and Satan, which goes into adversary. All right, it says, "And bound him 1,000 years." All right, now another stronghold. Because again, this isn't talking about, contrary to what this world teaches, this isn't talking about literally Yahweh Shai, which that's who the world calls Jesus. This isn't talking about Yahweh Shai actually bounding the spiritual demon Satan for 1,000 years. No, that's not what it's talking about. All right. Um, Let me read verse 3. It says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season." All right. Now, okay, so basically, dealing with this bottomless pit, all right, basically, it's going into Europe. All right. Why is Europe referred to as a bottomless pit? Because, matter of fact, when you go to Micah, the 2nd chapter, this is why Esau, he basically goes into other people's shit and takes their shit. When you read Micah 2 and start at verse 1, it says, "Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand." All right. It says, "And they covet fields and take them by violence." All right. And basically, man, who has conquered the earth by way of violence, by way of the sword? It makes sense that this fits Esau, man. It only makes sense. But it says, "And houses, and take them away, so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage." All right. So again, all right, the point being that they cover fields, right? This is why they go into all these other nations, these countries and whatnot, and they take their resources. Why? All right, because going back to the bottomless pit, which is being Europe, Europe, man, there's no natural like minerals or resources over there. They lack resources over there. All right, so this is why they go to different nations and countries, and basically, like I said, man, they covet fields, man. They covet after what other nations, their resources and stuff like that, man, and they take it by way of violence. All right, this is what all these wars have been about, so on and so forth. Taking other nations and their natural resources, because again, over there in Europe, man, they don't have these type of luxuries. They don't have mineral resources and stuff like that. They don't have nothing over there in Europe. This is why they conquer other nations and stuff like that, conquer lands, conquer heritages and stuff like that, man. All right, that's all Esau does. All right, but going back to Revelation 20, and I'm gonna read verse 3, it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. All right. So basically, what is this 1,000 year period going into? All right. Again, it's not going into 1,000 years, because when you read on down in the same chapter, there's another 1,000 year period. All right, where it talks about basically ruling with Yahweh Shai 1,000 years. All right. So people think that, these two 1,000 year periods, man, are basically equated to one another. People think that after 1,000 years ruling with Yahweh Shai, they think that after 1,000 years, the Satan's going to come back up from this bottomless pit. All right. And fight, some this big fight or whatever they teaching nowadays. I don't keep up with what these religions, whatever they teach, man. I don't keep up with it. All right, but basically after 1,000 years, man, they think that Satan's gonna rise from this bottomless pit and it's gonna be this all out war. No, that's not what it's talking about. All right, because this 1,000 year period in verse 3, it's actually talking about basically something known as the Middle Ages. All right, or some people, they are actually some scholars, they are actually even refer to this time period as the Dark Ages. And it's no coincidence that they use the term the Dark Ages, because this was a time where Esau, he was basically chased in the Caucasus Mountains, if I'm not mistaken. All right, he was shut up, because this was during, this happened not too long after when you read about the fall of the Roman Empire. All right, and then you read about people like Septimus Severus coming into power. When you look him up, Septimus Severus, they'll label him as an African, but he was actually an Israelite. He was a Jake. He was a Jake emperor. All right, because again, this time period happened not too long after the fall of the Roman Empire. All right, Esau, he was taken out of power for a time period, a time period of roughly 1,000 years. All right, and during this time, which again is known as the Middle Ages, and again, when you look into this, they'll actually say, because they try to downplay this time period, because they'll try to tell you, when you look into it, why it's called the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, because they'll try to tell you something along the lines of how basically nothing was accomplished during this time. There's nothing of significance to really speak on. Nothing happened during this time period. When in fact, again, Jake was ruling during this time period. All right, so-called black men, all right, Israelites were ruling during this time. All right, and again, going back to what I was saying, this is why they actually refer to this time period as the Dark Ages. All right, because you literally had you had dark people ruling Europe during this time. All right, so this is what this is going into. I'm gonna read Revelation 20 and verse 1 again. It says, I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and he laid hold on the dragon. All right, that old serpent. All right. Again, that same spirit that was way back in the garden in Genesis the 3rd chapter. This is that same spirit that's in Esau Edom today. So this is why he's referred to as that old dragon. All right. There's a scripture in Job that talks about how I'm a brother to dragons. All right, talking about Esau, man, because Esau, he's a Hebrew Edomite. All right. But nevertheless, all right, because you got people try to use the argument that Jacob and Esau, man, they were brothers. Yeah, they were brothers, but the blessing was only passed down from Abraham to Isaac. All right, because Abraham had sons. He had many sons. He had many children. All right, but the blood, the covenant, the blessing, so to say, was only passed down to Isaac. All right, and yet Jacob, Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau, but the blessing was only passed down to Jacob. All right. But again, nevertheless, quoting again what I mentioned in Job. Job said, "I am a brother to dragons," referring to Esau, man, because this man, he's a devil, and this is why when you read verse 2, it says, "And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil or the deceiver, and Satan," all right, which again means adversary, "and bound him 1,000 years." So again, this time period that I was just talking about, you know, or took place roughly 1,000 years, during this time of the Middle Ages, or the Dark Ages, when you had Jake ruling. All right, Jake was ruling Europe during this time, and where was Esau? He was nowhere to be found. All right, this is what this is talking about. This is how he was bound up 1,000 years. All right, and then you read about roughly around the 14th century, somewhere around that time period. This is when you read about the Renaissance. And this is when you get into iconoclasm, and you look up stuff like the Russian icons and stuff like that, man. This is when they started whitewashing. This is when the Borgias came into play, all right. And this is where you read stuff about the Borgia family and Cedric Borgia, all right, which that's who 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 you worship today as Jesus Christ, that white image of who you serve today, man. That's pretty much where all that stuff started from. This is where Esau started coming back into power. All right, because again, when you read verse 3 again, it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should not deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season. Sorry. So all right, that again, because he's in that season, that little season right now. Like I said, it started during this time around the Renaissance, when Esau started coming back into power. All right, because when you read about the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, it goes back. Their lineage goes back to the Borgias family, the Borgia family, so on and so forth. But nevertheless, again, this is when that they were loosed. All right, because again, they're in their little season. All right, but nevertheless, it started during the time of the Renaissance. All right, time went on. You read about the how pretty much Esau came over here, and conquered the northern tribes and stuff like that. You read about during the 1700s that the Illuminati being formed in the 1776, so on and so forth, man. All the way up to this day, Esau, he's in that season. All right, he's in that little season to rule. All right, and because the elites, they know this. They know about the time when Jake ruled, and they were basically casted out of the way for a time period. They know about this. All right, and do you think that they want to go back into slavery? Hell no, they don't. All right, but nevertheless, going back to, because I mentioned when you read in the same chapter, it goes into that the other 1,000-year period, which is the reign with Yahweh Shai. Because you see, after that time period, after that 1,000 years, when you read in the book of Obadiah, Esau, man, he's going to be completely wiped out, man. All right, so you see, man, they know this stuff, But nevertheless, man, going back to Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 14 again, it says, and Yahweh power said unto the serpent. So you see, this is talking about this same serpent that was, I just read about, that same dragon, or that old serpent that I read about in Revelation 20. All right, this is the same spirit that was in Esau today. All right, this goes way back in what I'm reading here in Genesis, the 3rd chapter. This is that same serpent. Genesis 3 and 14. And Yahweh power said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. All right, and again, because, again, part of that, it took place during that 1,000-year period when they were bound up. That chain, all right, the angel of the bottomless pit with the chain. All right, it's not talking about a physical chain. It's talking about a spiritual chain. All right, because again, Esau, he was chasing to the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. All right, and during that time period, man, man, because stuff like this is stuff, history they don't want you to know, But during this time period, man, Esau, man, he was walking on all fours, man, and he was just he was a brute beast, man. He was just in a he was in a bad state, man. But nevertheless, verse 14, all right, because again it says, thou art cursed above all cattle, all right, because again, what prompted me to do, just touch on this a little bit, because going back to what I had previously mentioned, all right, the ones that are cursed, man, from the earth, man, all right, they're the ones that are actually ruling right now, man, you know. But nevertheless, man, hey, man, when it's all said and done, and in our kingdom, Esau, he's going back to this state of just being beastly, man, just being brute beast, crawling on all fours, so on and so forth, man. They're going back to this state, man. All right. Um, it says, upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. All right, and basically, man, basically going into slavery. All right, you know, that state of confusion, because these people right now, man, it might be hard for some people to fathom the fact that, hey, man, Esau, man, because as of right now, he's looked at as a god on this earth right now. Our people really look at this man, this nation, as God, man. And you see today, because like I said, the people that you worship as Jesus Christ, that white image, all right, that's Esau, man. And our people, they love them some Cedric Borgia. They can't shake off that white Jesus demon. But nevertheless, man, this once mighty nation, all right, that has ruled the earth, and just without mercy, because like I said, like I read in Micah, man, the Esau, man, they have conquered all these nations, their lands, all right, taken all their natural resources, all right. This once mighty nation, soon, man, they're going to be brought low. And I'm going to get that in Isaiah 14, I think, after I read this in verse 15, Genesis 3:15, it says, and unto the woman, Salaki, verse 15, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. All right. And that's why, I got the image. All right. Because put it like this, man. Right, in fact, I'm gonna read this real quick in Psalm 68. Psalm 68. Psalm 68 and Psalm 68 verse 20, verse 21. Psalm 68 verse 21. But the Most High shall wound the head of his enemies, and the hairy scalp of such and one as goeth on still in his trespass. All right, that head, man. All right, because when you read the prophecy, Genesis 20, 25th chapter, it talks about how Esau, man, he came out first, and Esau, man, he took the heel of him. All right, or excuse me, Esau came out first, and Jacob took the heel. All right, but on a much grander scale. All right, because when you read verse 15 again, it says, and I will put enmity between thee and thy woman, and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. All right, because basically, man, when you and this is what's going to happen to Esau, because right again, he's that head. All right, like the saying goes, something along the lines of, if you cut the head off of a snake, man, all right, because you can wound a snake, man. You if you chop off the tail, it's just going to grow back. But if you take out the head, man, then you pretty much, hey, man, that thing is done for. The serpent is done for. All right, because if you wound the head, man, you pretty much, you kill the body. All right, you stop everything else. But you see, something like a heel injury or a leg injury, all right, or a foot injury, you can bounce back from that, and that's the state that we're in. All right, because right now, again, we're at the bottom. We're wounded right now. Like the scriptures say, the whole head is sick. Not sure, did I quote that right? But basically, man, we're in a wounded state. All right. You see, but nevertheless, again, going back to like I said, because it said, I'm gonna read that last part of verse 15. It says, it shall bruise thy head. All right. Talk about when we come back into power. All right. Because again, Esau, man, right now, he's the head. All right. He's the head. But when we come back into power, again, like I read in Psalm 68, man. All right. Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to, completely take out the head of this serpent. All right. And reading on, it says, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So you see, we're again, we're in that state of right now, of that wounded state. But you see, again, because something like a heel, is basically like the something like a leg injury, something like something along the lines of like a lower body part injury. Might have a what is it, the fibula bone or whatever, or heel or whatever, man. Anything dealing with the legs. All right, that's in time that could be healed. All right, but you see, like I said, something like a head injury, man. Hey, man, it's you don't really bounce back from that. And again, because Esau, he's the head, and nevertheless we're the heel. So when Esau gets taken out of power, hey, man, he's gonna be taken out of power for good. And you see, we're the heel. All right. But right now we're in that wounded state, man. We just think of it like a lower body part injury, like a leg injury. That's something that can be healed. All right. But nevertheless, touching on the how basically, man, they're gonna eat the dust, man. Shall they eat all the days of their life? Because basically, like I said, just to keep it sweet and simple, it's going into ultimately what's in store for Esau is slavery. All right, because again, this once mighty nation, all right, the time is going to come where this is going to happen. In Isaiah chapter 14, I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. All right, who's the king of Babylon? Esau. All right. And not only that, but again, who runs the earth, man? Esau runs the earth. All right. Matter of fact, before I get this, I'm gonna go to Isaiah 24. All right, because again, like I mentioned, the curse of the earth, man. They're the ones that's ruling the earth right now. But nevertheless, the ones that the earth was created for, all right. We're on the bottom, man. Look for this in Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24 and 6, it says, the earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed. Slakia, verse 6, Isaiah 24 and 6. Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burnt, and few men left. So you see, all right, again, this curse that's devouring the earth right now, because the whole earth is sick under the inhabitants of these people. All right, this nation, this serpent. All right, this is the curse that is polluting our earth, man, and this is why he has to be taken out of the way. All right, but nevertheless, how is the curse of the earth? Because that's what it said. Like I said in Genesis, the 3rd chapter, man. All right, the one that was cursed from the earth, man. They're the ones that's ruling the earth, and this is why the earth is in the state that it's in, man. This earth is all sorts of jacked up. This earth, man, has a cancer to it. Why? Because this serpent is ruling with rigor, man. He just doesn't give a damn. And he's been proven that, hey, man, he is unruly to be king. He's unruly to rule. So he has to be taken out of the way. But nevertheless, this is the curse that is defiling the earth. The ones that are cursed from the earth, they're the ones that are ruling the earth. All right. But going back to Isaiah 14 and 4 again, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, how had the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. All right, it says, Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked, and the sceptre of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. So you see, all right, because again, this once mighty nation, and how do they, conquer these different lands and stuff like that? By way of violence. All right, they rule with rigor, man. They don't show mercy even to their own people. All right, Esau is tired of his own people, man. All right, even Esau's tired of Esau. But nevertheless, this is the once most feared nation, man. All right, but again, it's going to get to a point where, again, this once mighty feared nation is going to be brought down. It's going to be, because like I said, it might be a hard to fathom for some people, because again, you know, Esau, he's on top right now. But nevertheless, verse 7, it says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. All right. And that's, you know, if I'm not mistaken, it's doublefold, because, you know, the scriptures are often referred to men as trees. All right. But even the trees, man, is literally going to, you know, be singing out and rejoicing. Because Esau, man, they chop all these trees down, man. They're destroying the ecosystem. Like I read in Isaiah 24, man. They're cursing the earth, man. The earth is sick. The earth it has a cancer. Everything is jacked up. The ecosystem's all messed up. All right. But you see, when Esau gets taken out of the way, even the trees literally are gonna, you know, rejoice. The plants, everything is literally gonna rejoice, man. Even the other nations, when Esau gets taken out of power, even the nations are gonna rejoice. All right. But verse 9, it says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. All right, talking about because hell, man, it's often equated to literally being under the ground. All right, buried under the ground, buried in hell. All right, you know, it can be equated with a condition, because right now, hey, Esau, he is in his heaven, and right now the children of Israel, we are in our hell. All right, but basically, man, it's talking about captivity, because, you know, again, long story short, man. All right. Hey, man, when they eat this dust, man, all right, you know, hey, man, Esau, man, he's going to be unrecognizable, all right, because, again, they're going to go from rags to riches, man, just like that, man, all right, or riches to rags, Slakia. They're going to go from riches to rags, just like that, man. It's going to be incredible. But nevertheless, verse 9 again, it says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, all right, slavery. All right. It says, it stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? So you see, man. All right. Because again, Esau is already, he's already being brought low. Because again, Esau was, you know, he was the once most feared nation. You know, they would threaten these nations with you know, missiles and stuff like that, man. But now everyone has missiles. All right. You know, Esau can't flaunt like that, like how he used to, because everyone has missiles now. All right. So Esau, you know, is not the big bad bully on the block anymore. America is not the big bad bully on the block anymore. All right. Reading on verse 11, it says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy bowels, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. All right, and basically, man, if like a dead, decomposing body, man, once those worms get to it, man, it's just like, damn, you know, because like I said, Esau, man, though he's on the top right now, man, when this time comes and you know, Esau, man, he's gonna be in a bad case, man. He's gonna be, like I said in Genesis, man, you know, crawling on his belly, man, crawling on all fours, man. He's gonna go back to a beastly state, just like it did during the time of during that 1,000-year period when Jacob was ruling Europe and Esau was chased into the Caucasus Mountain. All right, look into that. All right, because again, you know, they don't really like when you get into that history. They don't want people to know that history when they were, you know, in those Caucasus Mountains and whatnot, man. Look into that. Look into that history. But nevertheless, hey, that's coming back for Esau on a much grander scale. All right. Verse 12, it says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? And Lucifer just means light bearer. All right. And nevertheless, man, because again, you know, hey, Esau, man, when he gets taken out of power, he's going to be taken out of his, because it said, hell is going to, you know, move up to meet them. Slavery is getting prepared for them. All right. Because like I said, hey, we're in our hell. Esau, he's in his heaven right now. But he's going to be taken out of his heaven, out of his power structure. All right. He's going to be brought down to hell, and we're going to be brought to our heaven. All right. Our time to rule is coming, man. All right. You know, and they know this. This is something that they fear, because they know when the Israelites are in power, man, hey, that's not good for them. All right. You know. Let me read verse 12 again. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weakest the nations? So you see, how the hell did this happen? To where this mighty feared nation, man, all right, they've been brought down to this low position, to this low state, all right. The scriptures talk about how, man, hey, man, they're going to be licking the dust off our boots, man, off our feet, all right. They're going to be so low, man, so lowly, all right. Then, hey, man, these Edomites, man, they're going to be unrecognizable, all right. And again, after that 1,000-year period with Yahushai, all right, hey, again, read the book of Obadiah. They're going to be completely exterminated. They're going to be wiped out. And you see, they know this, man. They understand this. So this is why they do everything in their power to, basically do what they do, man, to stay in power. Because they know this stuff, man. They knew that Jake was ruling. They knew about when Jake was ruling during the time of that 1,000-year period, man. All right. When Jake was ruling Europe, they know about this. They know about their history when their people were chasing the Caucasus Mountains and they were walking around on all fours like brute. They know about this stuff. All right. But read verse 12 again. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? All right. And how? Yahweh Shem Shai. That's how. All right. I'm gonna read on verse 15. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So you see, this is Esau's future. All right. Slavery. That's basically, like I said, man. At the end of it all, that's what it's talking about. Slavery. All right. They're gonna be taken out of their power structure. All right. And they're going to be brought down to slavery, man. They're going to be in a miserable case, man. They're going to be in a pitiful case. Like, damn. All right. These were those people, that conquered the world. All these nations, man. Got all these riches. Damn. These were those people. God damn. And like I said, man, it's going to be beautiful. But nevertheless, man, and during slavery, these other nations, that's how they're going to be looking at Esau. Like, damn, yo. Look at these fools, man. Picking cotton right here with us, man. And, you read about like scriptures like Deuteronomy 37, man, because, hey, man, hey, the curses, man, when these curses get lifted off of us and put on these nations, Esau, he's going to get it the worst. All right. And, hey, man, Esau, man, he's going to be the new nigga. Because, hey, man, these nations, they're going to be looking at Esau, man, like, man, you goddamn devils, man. How the hell did y'all... How did we allow you to convince us to do these things to the chosen people of Yahweh Shem Shai? How the hell did we allow you to convince us, man? Because then, man, everyone's gonna be pissed at Esau for what they did to the children of Israel. All right, all these nations, they're gonna be mad at Esau. And again, because he's gonna be at the bottom of the bottom, man. He's gonna be the lowest of the low during that 1,000-year period, man. All right. Just filthy and disgusting, man. But nevertheless, all right. Let's go back to Genesis 3. I'm going to read verses 14 and 15 again. It says, and Yahweh power said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. So, just going back to what I mentioned, man. The people that are cursed from the earth, man. They're the ones that are ruling the earth. But the people that the earth was made for, all right. Hey, when you read verse 15 again, it says, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, all right. Because again, once you take off the head, man, that you've done damage, man. That's pretty much it. If you get a head injury, so to say, that's pretty much it for me. You're pretty much done for, all right. But nevertheless, Esau, he's the head right now, all right, and. Hey, the head is about to be taken off, man. It's about to be taken off clean. All right. But it says, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So you see, man. And like I said, something like a leg injury, man. A foot injury. That's you can come back from that. And nevertheless, we're in that state of, we're wounded right now, man. But nevertheless, hey, All right. Esau, he's getting ready to be taken out of power, man. All right. You know, things are about to be set back in righteousness, man. Because once Esau gets taken out of power, this cancer is moved from the earth. All right. That's when everything's going to be, you know, reset and, you know, set back in its righteous order. Everything's going to be good from there on out, you know. But yeah, man, hopefully this was edifying. Once again, giving all credit to Yahweh Shemel Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Shemel Shai Brakatham to the hopefully elect. And until next time, Lord's will, I say shalom.